Yesterday, Minister for Immigration Chris Farfoy announced that a limited number of overseas veterinarians and farm machinery operators, as well as horticulture and vineyard workers, were going to be allowed into New Zealand after the government granted these exemptions for these professions only. Their skills have been stated as required urgently to avoid the loss of crop and animal feed that is ready for harvest. Also creating a lack of shearers for sheep that need to be shorn ASAP was not on the list. Now, Mark Barrowcliffe, the president of the Shearers Contractors Association from New Zealand, is joining us now. As I would love to know, Mark, are you frustrated about being left off the bill?
Oh, it's definitely disappointing because we can see a problem looming, hence why we put this application in with the feds and federated farmers. And we have had it reviewed again, but obviously didn't get the nod. So the problem's still coming and we need to try and sort it out ASAP, really.
Can you give us a scale of the problem?
Being a transient workforce, it's sort of hard to judge because we bounce around a lot between Australia and New Zealand, and obviously the UK guys come in, so it is hard to know. But obviously, we're chasing a couple of hundred shearers here in New Zealand for the main shear period. Australia's trying to get 500 shearers over into their country at the moment. So, although it's not as huge as maybe the fruit pickers and stuff, people-wise, each person that we get here, they bang out 200 odd sheep a day and multiply that by the days they're going to be here. So, it can be quite a big problem.
And, of course, we're talking there about animal feed loss, but what about animal welfare issues? Is heating up already here in Lincoln. And, of course, that backlog is only going to eat more and more into the hotter periods.
Yeah, definitely. It's not happening for us yet. We're more into that November and December when it really starts to hit, and it'll flow through to the North Island and then down to the South Island if we get behind. So, it's not only animal welfare issues and getting the wool off in time, but also it'll cost the farmer a bit. He's either got to get them back into dip or manage possible fly strikes. So it's just a bit more time and cost going on to them. So we're just sort of promoting at the moment. If we don't get the tick, well, you just got to get that early communication going with your shearers and your shearing contractors to try and work out a way to mitigate a bit of the pain.
We've had rural contractors, Roger Pardon, on before, as well as many across the sector who've been crying out for staff on Shearers Country. What is that process of trying to bang on immigration's door, and why do you believe they've gone down the route of some but not all?
So we just put an application in supported with federated farmers, or they put one in and backed up by us, whichever way around you want to do it. But and then we deal with MPI. So and then MPI advise the ministers on what they think. So. Yeah, other than our dealings with MPI, who have been very good and understanding and they get it, it's obviously, that they pass the information on, and it's made at cabinet level where maybe they don't think of the bigger picture for us, but I suppose they've got to prioritise it. And at the end of the day, we've only got so many immigration quarantine spaces, so maybe that's limiting it. But, our window's getting pretty tight. We're looking at bringing people in from the UK. So if we can't start the process soon, even though the problem's not till December, well, the old horse is already bolted, really.
What does that process look like in expense and also the risk of Australia pinching them too?
Yeah, well, you've got the added hang on, sorry. Fatal mistake. You've got the added problem of the availability of flights, the availability of quarantine, and then just the sheer cost of the flight and the quarantine. So even though we get the nod, we've still got to attract these guys from the UK over. And look what's happening in the UK at the moment. who's to say they're not going to have issues coming home as well themselves? You just don't know. So there are quite a few still expressing interest to come from the UK, which is great. But at the moment, we haven't got a definite answer for them.
Now, I know that you are representing the Shearers Contractors Association, but I was just forward thinking with regards to shearing sports and those international participants. What does that mean sort of for the circuit in terms of being able to have our own internal competition here on the ground? Does that mean it takes away any of the competition? I mean, New Zealand shearers, let's be honest, are some of the best in the world. So,
oh yeah, definitely, and that's why the guys from the UK, especially America, throughout Europe, they want to come here and compete with the best to up their skills. So if they can't come into the country, well, they're not going to be at our shearing shows and supporting them, which they are great at supporting. Because like I just said, they come here to get better. They do that day in and day out in the shed, and then they go and really test their stuff in the weekends against us. And hey, they've come a long way, and it's going to be a big loss to shearing sports, and that's even our community shows. They're a real feel good factor. Your AMP shows and that. Whether you come in there to eat a hot dog, shear a sheep, or run a dog or whatever. You knock one of those areas out or lessen it, well, everyone feels it a bit. It's just it limits that great country shows that we put on.
Hey, our thoughts go out to you and your contractors. The Contractor Association represents, Mark, because it's a challenge and frustrating, I can admit. So therefore, take care, and we look forward to following the day that I get a press release to say the shearers are allowed in. It'll be a great day. Wonderful. I was just thinking, and with regards to what Mark was just saying there, one of my favourite AMP shows is Little River, where you've got to, chew the wheat bix and scull the bear and then turn the old handpiece over and shear a sheep. So, that's just one of many, but actually seeing those athletes, and that is what they are in full swing, is absolutely a crucial and amazing part of our AMP shows.
This is Sarah's Country.